Hey, this is David Ellis, and in this short video, I'm going to go through a paper that I wrote called Here is Why It Didn't Work Out with That Marketing Agency and What You Should Do Instead. And this is the definitive guide for boutique B2B service businesses on how to stop doing marketing and start growing. And I'll start by telling you about a recent conversation I had with a business owner. He runs a successful business that's been around for over a decade and turns over 3 to 5 million per year on average. Historically, nearly all of their new business has come from referrals, and this has served them really well, but he has long-term ambitions to exit the business in the future. And in order to do so, he needs to scale faster and he needs more reliable growth. So he thinks to himself, I need to do some marketing. So he goes out and hires a full-service marketing agency. And over the course of the next year, he pays them more than 60K and they accomplish a redesign of the new website, encouraging him to invest in a new CRM, HubSpot, and that's another 12K a year. They test some LinkedIn automation and outreach. They do email outreach, and they write a bunch of blogs which go on the website and also get shared on LinkedIn. Now, the problem is that none of this really works. Nobody was going to the new website or reading the blogs. His sales team can't be bothered to update the CRM. And the LinkedIn outreach and email automation does work, and it generates a few new leads, but there's no real consistency. And in the end, it proves to be a huge waste of time and energy for his business. And this is exactly who this guide is for. Frustrated business people who are tired of doing marketing and want to start really, really growing. And you may not be looking to change the world or start the next Uber, but you know that you provide an awesome service and that if you could just get in front of more prospects, you'd close more deals. And historically, most of your business has come from referrals and from your network. You've not had to do that much selling in the past. You've probably tried a few different marketing strategies, so web redesign, PPC, posting content on LinkedIn, and none of it has quite had the impact you desired. You might have even worked with a few agencies or a few lead generation companies that didn't work out. You could have started a podcast because everyone else seems to be doing it. You may have been convinced that buying HubSpot is going to solve all of your growth problems, and you know that there has to be a better way. You're also aware of the need for business efficiency in stressful market conditions like 2023, and you're looking for a simple, efficient, and profitable way to grow your company. And you need a simple roadmap for growth, not a complicated web of marketing smoke and mirrors. So if any or all of this resonates with you, then this guide is designed for you, and I really hope it provides you with some value. So this is my story and why I believe I'm qualified to speak about this. I have nearly 10 years of experience in B2B sales and marketing. I've worked in-house for boutique B2B companies, running small sales and marketing functions. I founded my own business, so I know what it feels like to spend my own money on marketing and need it to generate you returns quickly. And I've worked with external suppliers. I've also worked with over 50 B2B companies across my agency and one-to-one consulting clients, and I've seen many different strategies for growth in place. This has helped me to really separate the signal from the noise, and there's a lot of noise in marketing, that's for sure. This is my track record of results. So I was director of business development at a company called PGC. The way to think about this is it's like a growth lead role, so driving revenue and customer growth. This was an established B2B company with over 20 years in business. I was running a small sales and marketing function and really proud as a team. We had record-breaking years back to back whilst I was in this role. So these are the stats for 2020. We had a plus 35% increase in total revenue overall and a 20% increase in customer acquisition, both record-breaking years. And the same for 2021, another big uptick in revenue and an increase in customer acquisition. And we crossed over $100 million in turnover, which had long been a goal of the leadership team. I then went on to found an agency called Taranga, and we hit 50K MRR in just 4 months after our public launch, whilst maintaining 80% gross profit margins. We went from 0 to 8 full-time team members within 12 months, and we solved product market fit with a very unique offer in a competitive market. And it's hard to get more competitive than the marketing agency world, believe me. We were able to scale up quickly because we had a unique marketing technique and marketing method and a very unique offer as well. This is a snapshot of our financial summary for the month of April 2022, just as a bit of proof. Obviously, 50K a month isn't necessarily that much to be excited about, but what we were pleased about is how quickly we got there and how profitable we were able to maintain whilst hitting those numbers. I also recently founded a company called B2B, where we help B2B service providers scale up as a growth consultant. So these are some things that I love outside of work, just in case you're interested in that. I love coffee, and this is a picture of me using a pour over method to make some coffee. I'm a massive coffee nerd. I love to brew my own coffee at home. I weigh my beans and grind them by hand, etc. I also love dogs, especially our spaniel Freddie. and I'm a big fan of watches. So I like collecting watches, and I invest in watches as well. Again, very, very nerdy about all of this stuff. So here's my perspective on why marketing is broken. And this was the realization that I had after working in-house in sales and marketing, founding my own business, and also working with over 50 agency and consulting clients. And that is that many businesses are doing marketing and not really growing. And here's what I mean. They're starting a podcast because everyone else has one, or they're hiring a PPC agency when they don't have product market fit yet, or they're buying HubSpot and hoping it's going to solve all their problems, or they're redesigning their website because they're not getting any inbound leads, or they're doing content on LinkedIn because the latest guru, the latest influencer has told them that they need to do it. And it's not that there's anything wrong with any of these activities. They're all great. But you need more than this to grow your business. And I like to think of it marketing. I like to think of it as attention. So all of these methods are just ways to get attention to your message and your offer. And it's very, very powerful when you have a message that's resonating really well with your audience. However, most businesses have not gone through the steps that are required to find the resonance even, aka product market fit with their marketplace. So their marketing or their attention just ends up amplifying an ineffective message. And the reason that the majority of marketing doesn't work is that you don't have a clear message and offer. And therefore, even the best marketers in the world will not be able to help you. And this is the cycle that many businesses find themselves in. They hop from channel to channel or marketing gimmick to marketing gimmick without ever achieving significant or consistent growth. So marketing like this is also very inefficient, and business efficiency is really essential in stressful market conditions like we have in 2023. So businesses who do not adopt efficient growth strategies are really unlikely to survive. So what's the answer? How do we actually achieve resonance? And this is really the simplest path or the shortest path to achieving resonance and finding real growth. Number one, we need a really clear action plan. Number two, we need a connected marketing, sales, and product flow. So our marketing has to be connected to our sales, which also has to be connected to our product and the service that we're offering. And we also need to employ rapid iteration and testing in order to find resonance. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk you through this protocol and how to actually put it into practice into your business. Before I do so, a couple of principles that you need to bear in mind when you're going through this. So firstly, simplicity scales. The more that we can remove from our growth or marketing and sales process, the better. You don't need a fancy website. You don't need an expensive CRM. You don't need a big marketing or a big sales team. You should target one segment at a time. So this process only works if you're targeting one customer and providing one solution to one problem. If you try and speak to everyone, you'll end up speaking to no one. And so what you should do is, if you want to target more than one segment, is solve a segment at a time. So once you've solved one segment, you can then move on to the next. Database decision-making is highly important. So we must track the data really carefully and make sure we make scientific database decisions. And we also need to move fast. So speed is really important. The faster we can test and iterate, the faster we'll achieve the outcome we desire. So there's 4 phases to this process that I'm going to walk you through now. We have the stage itself and how I've named it, characteristics of the stage, and then the action items within that stage. So the stage 1 is positioning and foundational marketing content creation. So we're going to produce our initial hypothesis and then build some marketing content off the back of it. So the first thing we want to do if we're an established business is review our client base and pick our top performing case study. So we're going to judge on the basis of, the customers that we've worked with and the projects that we've done, which have been the most profitable per unit of time. Which of these market segments do we have a competitive advantage in? Which are the clients that we prefer to work with and we want to duplicate and get many more of those clients? What is the total addressable market size of each of the segments that we're looking at? So we need to pick ideally one case study or a selection of very, very similar case studies. And the second thing we're going to do is write a foundational piece of content around the case study. And we call these sales letters, or they can be in video form called video sales letters. They can be on a landing page. They can be in a Google Doc, a little bit like this one. And what you want to include is very specific targeting towards your chosen audience, i.e. the same audience as the company that you helped in the case study. You need a transformational claim, so where they were before you worked with them and where they were after you worked with them. You need social proof and case studies if you have them. And you need unique insights and as much value as possible. You want to provide value through this content. So it's not just selling, it's also, hey, what would the customer get out of this if they weren't to work with you? You need very clear problem and solution messaging. and you need a clear call to action. So if they resonate with your content, what's the next step they should take? What should they do? So that's the first thing. The second phase is lead generation or testing. We're testing our offer, we're testing our content. So the purpose is to get as many eyeballs on this content as possible. And the ways that we're going to do that is via outreach, advertising, and inbound on LinkedIn or other social media platforms. I prefer LinkedIn just because it's more professional in the B2B space, but this would work on Instagram or Facebook or any of the others. So we're going to use outreach and or advertising and or content creation to drive traffic to our foundational content, to test it and see if we have market resonance. So I advise to use advertising if you have the budget for it, as it's by far the most efficient. Use all three if you want to move quickly and test very quickly. And what you're looking for is at least 1 to 5% of the people who see your content to follow through and take part in the call to action. So usually that's booking a call or submitting a form. If you don't have this percentage yet, it's either that you're sharing it with the wrong audience or that the content isn't quite right. So you need to update your hypothesis and or your content until you get this resonance. And this is the important part. This is where we need to iterate. You'll also take calls with the people that are interested in what you have to say. You'll gather feedback from the marketplace and you'll feed this back into your hypothesis and into your content. And this is where the power of this process comes in. It's a very dynamic process. So it's constantly being updated and adjusted with the feedback that you're getting from the market. It's not static. After this, we're going to move into sales process optimization. And the aim here is to shorten the sales cycle as much as possible and increase the closing percentage as much as possible. So we're going to map out the sales process from start to finish, all the way from the first touch that a customer has with us through to the onboarding process. And we're looking for ways to increase efficiency. So we're going to look at our CRM. How can we optimize the CRM? We want to remove as many stages of the process as possible. In my experience, a lot of B2B companies have generally 5, 6, 7 calls with their prospects before they move forward. If you're doing outbound outreach, then a 2-call process is good. So you have an initial discovery process, and then that gets followed up by a demo if they're a good fit for you. If it's inbound through content or advertising, 1 call is more than enough to provide your customer with everything they need to decide if they want to move forward. And always have a really clear next step at every stage of the process. Okay, so after the first call, is there one really clear step that they need to take? After they've decided that they want to work with you, what's that one step that they need to take to initiate the onboarding process? And that's how I'd encourage you to think about it. Use content at every stage of the process to warm up prospects as well. Meaning, for example, if they book in a consultation with you, perhaps you redirect them to a page where they see some case studies or some testimonials of customers that you've already worked with. Okay, so that's our sales process optimization. Now we move into scaling up our marketing or increasing the attention that we have. So now that we have a well-positioned offer, channels for generating leads, and an optimized sales process, it's really time to scale. So scaling marketing whilst keeping a close eye on the metrics to ensure hyper profitability. So we need to make sure our customer acquisition cost to LTV, lifetime value ratio, is at least 1 to 10. So we want to make 10 times the amount per customer that it costs us to acquire that customer, at least. Obviously, more is better. If we're marketing using paid ads, we're just going to scale up by spending more on those ads. If we're doing outbound, we're going to add more appointment setters and more automation to leverage up the number of people we can reach out to. We're also going to start to build out longer term inbound channels using content and SEO to supplement the outbound channels. And this way, it will drive customer acquisition costs down over time. And this is the stage of the process where it might make sense to hire specialist marketing firms with specialist knowledge, okay? So at this point, we have an offer that we know is resonating with the market, and therefore we can scale it up. And you might need specialists to actually do that within certain channels. The problem is that most people jump straight to this stage and they go to scaling up their marketing when they haven't achieved that resonance or that product market fit. So this is the process. And there's also a diagram version as well. You can check this out on the document. There's a link to it here in Figma. I know some people are a lot more visual. I know I certainly am. And so you can see that in the visual form as well. And what I want to do now is talk about a case study and an example of what is possible when we put this into practice. So I'm going to use my own business B2B. And since launching in February 2023, we've closed nearly 100K in new sales. Okay, this is a snapshot from our CRM from today, which is the 8th of March. And you can see we have 4 clients here with deposits paid, ready to get started. And we have 4 more clients that have started with us already. And we did this using the exact same framework laid out in this guide. And so that's within less than 40 days, just over 30 days or so. And we didn't have a huge marketing function or big budgets. So it's basically just me and one other person working in the business right now. We don't even have a real website. So all we have is just a landing page with our video sales letter. You can see our video sales letter here. So our foundational content, that's what we're using at the moment. And then I'm also sharing content on LinkedIn about our progress and how we're building in public. And so sharing real numbers and real insights on our process. And you can check that out here. So what's next for you is try to put this into action in your own business. And I really hope that you have enough here to see some results and see some activity. And I hope it's a clear plan that you can implement today. If you have any questions or you need help with implementation, please book a free consultation with me using this link. We can have a chat. I'll aim to help you in any way I can. And obviously, if it makes sense for us to work together, then we can talk about that as well. And if you want to see more insights, you can follow me on LinkedIn here. Just click the link and you can follow me there. So thank you so much for your time and attention, and really looking forward to hearing from you. Take care.